here, folks, with John Benitez. If you were available, if you actually saw and heard the first one, you would be amazed. And I'm sure a lot of people are coming back because this is the episode two of John Benitez. John is recently out of prison. John, when did you get out?
December 7th last year.
December 7th. So you're half a year into freedom. Freedom
Yeah.
written large. We discussed that last time. He's
Yeah.
really given us a new perspective, me a new perspective on actually what prison life is like and what life is like outside of prison, which he described in the last episode as a prison also, because you have so many responsibilities and payments and things you have to do that it's a prison of its own making. So, John, thanks for coming back, brother. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. It's good to be here.
So, when we left off last episode, we'd talked about a little bit of the life inside, sleeping arrangements and the food and
Yeah.
and different things. Did you like anything about prison? Was there anything at all that you found rewarding?
There's nothing. There's
Zero.
nothing. Zero. The only thing that you can get from going to prison is a change of mentality. If you go to prison, it's to change your life. It's not to go, because you get a lot of people that go to prison and enjoy that stuff. For real. You really have a lot of people that go there and wants to stay there. They'll go home for 2 weeks and come back, do 6 years, go home for 2 months, come back for 15 years. Those are the type of people that just don't have anybody. They don't have any life outside, and 3 meals a day, somewhere to sleep, being able to take a shower sounds better than sleeping on the streets to them.
Wow, that's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. But it's a choice they've made that works for them. I mean, it seems almost like a way to take homeless and mentally ill people and put them on a shelf.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that kind of that looks like in there?
It is. It really is. But it's what people don't understand is that the population in prison is increasing rapidly. There's not a lot of staff to maintain the amount of prisoners that's in prison right now. And they just keep inviting more homeless people that just want to stay, or people keep leaving prison and coming back. And it's just building and building and building to the point where they're going to have to start releasing prisoners that have been doing 25 years, 35 years, stuff like that.
But then they'll just do something to
Yeah, it's a
get back
cycle.
in, right? You said that you're out 2 weeks, you're out 2 months, whatever. You
Yeah,
can't find a job. You don't have a home. You don't have relatives. No one's going to employ you. Where have you been the
yeah,
last 15 years? Well, I've been in prison. So
yeah.
that's crazy in a way. That's
One
amazing.
thing that one thing I want to say that does actually help people go home and stay home is the programs they have in prison as far as going to college. Because when I was in prison, and I think 2 years before I went home, I started no 3 years before I went home, I started going to programs, and I got my high school equivalency in prison. I got a certificate in HVAC. I have a certificate in psychology, Psych 101. Programs like that actually help people. And the way they do it is, if you take this class, we'll take a little bit of time off your sentence. That makes people want to do it, And once they get in and they start actually getting involved in stuff, they actually get it actually motivates them to want to do it, and actually motivates them to actually want to get the degree and finish the program that they're taking and stuff.
They are accomplishing something
Yeah.
with hard-earned time. They are actually coming out better. They're seeking to come out better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, you're well spoken. You're thoughtful. I see where the philosophical nature that you have comes from
Yeah.
psychology. Well, of course, on psychology.
Yeah.
Uh, you mentioned that to me earlier at a different time that I said, well, what do you do? And you said that books
Hmm.
books saved you.
Yeah.
So can you maybe speak to that for a minute?
I want to say that, books are like we're in, just like I told you, we're in our own environment and stuff, but there's nowhere to go. So people, what they do is they listen to music. Music takes people out, it takes them out into the world, listening to everything that's going on out there. For me, it's books. Being able to open a book and actually read and put those pictures in my mind, it takes me to a whole nother world. I could sit there with a book for hours and completely forget about me being in prison, I could sit there with a book for 2 hours, stop reading and look around and be like, well, I'm in prison again, It's just like books help me. And I've read so many books on everything, anything. Somebody can give me a book, I don't care what it is, I'll read it. And it really helped me out during my prison sentence. Really, really helped me out.
So it's an escape.
Yeah, it's an escape, man. It's an escape. It helps you forget about the stuff that you're stressing about at the moment and puts you in a story, whatever story it is. It could be a thriller, action, fantasy. It just takes you from the world that you're in at the moment.
So, I mean, you said you'd read anything. I get that. I'd read the back of a cereal box if it took me out of that place.
Yeah.
But did you read fiction more, or I mean, did you have access to books? Is there a library there? Did people have to send them to you? I mean, run
Yeah.
that
I mean,
down for me.
I had the privilege of having my mom. She's always helped me out since the first day I got arrested. She's always sent me, if I needed some money, she'll send me money. She's always sent me pictures and letters and stuff. She's always sent me books. That's one thing that she's always been consistent about, sending me books on anything. If I tell her I want a book, she'll send it to me. But we do get access to libraries in certain prisons. Some prisons have like small libraries and we don't get that much. And some prisons have big libraries and we get a big variety of things. But it really just depends on what facility you're in.
So, uh, so you could check one if you're in a
Yeah.
good place. You could check it out and take it back, give it back to
Yeah,
them.
it's like a regular library, yeah.
What was your favorite book? I mean, did you have
My
one?
Yeah, I had a favorite book. My favorite book it's pretty childish, but it's called Ready Player One. I don't know if you ever seen a movie or read about it or anything like that.
I that strikes a bell in my very poor memory, but may help me with that.
So it's basically about a video game. And this video game was made it's like a virtual vid game. You can put a helmet on and it looks like you're in real life. And it's this kid that lives in it is the world is in like 2053 or something like that. And everything is virtual or whatever. And he's in this poor uh, uh, trailer park, doesn't have no money, and all he knows is that game. He goes to school on the game and does all that. Then he goes and finds this Easter egg, and this Easter egg gives him a lot of money and stuff. And it's a really good book. It's really hard to explain the whole book because it's so big, but it's a really good book.
Big being with 500 pages, 1,000. What I mean,
It's like I would say it's like more like 700 pages.
700.
Yeah. But I've read bigger than that. Like the Stephen King book, that was more like 1,600, 700 pages.
Did
That's
you
another.
ever read some of the classics? I mean, Greek literature or anything at all?
Um, I've read one of my favorite older books is more To Kill a Mockingbird. I love that book. And
Yeah.
what's another one? The God of Flies. I think that's what it's called. The God of Flies.
Oh no, it's I know
The
what
Lord of the Flies. The Lord of the
Lord of
Flies.
the Flies. Yeah, that's a
Yes,
classic.
that that's a really good
That's
book. I like that book too.
especially in your situation, that must have
Yeah.
been very
Yeah.
telling.
Yeah, very. It was
Lord of the
very.
Flies. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, what book would you like to read today if you could read any book in front? What are you interested in now?
I mean, right now I'm more interested in I love Stephen King. His books, if you give me a book that's Stephen King, I will keep the book for the rest of my life. I've always kept all my Stephen King books in prison, and I've always kept them since I came home and stuff. If I could read something by him, if I read anything right now, it would be called, I think it's called Under the Dome. I think that's what it's called, Under the Dome by Stephen King. And it's basically just like the theory. Just have you ever seen the Simpsons movie? It's just the big dome that drops on the city, and people are stuck on the inside and stuff. They have to fiend for their stuff. You ever seen anything
Okay.
like that? Yeah,
Yeah, I like sci-fi movies. That's the kind of thing, and that's definitely going. If it isn't already, that will be a science
yeah,
fiction movie by
yeah,
Stephen King for sure. Amazing. Wow.
yeah.
Okay. So reading was good for you. Reading has I mean, you are well spoken. I said that earlier, and I mean that. I was actually surprised when we started talking when you first got here. I thought
Yeah.
this guy does not present as being a hardcore criminal. I mean,
Yeah.
armed
Yeah.
robbery is not your, you know,
Yeah.
it's not shoplifting. Okay,
Yeah.
it just isn't. So I believe you have a lot of potential upside that you don't recognize right now. I really do. And you are going to find your place in this outside prison, and you're gonna break out of that prison.
Yeah. I'm trying. Definitely
You are
trying.
trying. You are
Yeah.
absolutely trying, and that's what it takes. Is first the intention, and you have it, and you have drive, and you
Yeah.
have a good heart, and
Thanks.
I'm so glad you work with us. You really are a great asset to our team.
Yeah.
Um, Believe it or not, you're an inspiration to me.
You're an inspiration to me, man. If anything, you're an inspiration to me, man. For
Well,
real.
you you touched briefly when we were talking in the office about your your upbringing, your childhood, and that uh, we grew up poor, but you grew up with some real serious roadblocks
Yeah.
to and I what is normal, but roadblocks to a normal life, the picket fence and the dog and all that stuff. You did not receive a lot of the benefits that, well, like me, I'm a white guy. Okay, I get a pass on everything,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. I'm not complaining, but at the same time, I am complaining. That doesn't seem right,
Okay.
folks. This is the end of episode 2.
Okay.
We gotta. He's on his phone, so it's kind of hard if he disappears for us to have any more episodes here right now. So we'll be back. Episode 3 is coming up in a little bit. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.
So again, back to you are an inspiration. You are bouncing back from a situation that not most, but some people would just can't. And can you speak to that? What's your motivation here? Where's your head at on that stuff?